Welcome to Dog for Fitness. So today we have a special session in our channel. In our channel, as you all know, we'd like to focus not just on exercise, but we care about educating our viewers about other things about fitness as well. As you all know, we had an educational video about all the myriad benefits of exercise rather than just the common ones we know. And we also have exercises on various conditions such as chronic knee pain, and we are shortly coming up with one for chronic back pain, etc. So today we will focus on nutrition in our talk. And as you all know, nutrition and exercise are complementary to each other, right? You can be fit without eating right as well. So we have an expert to talk about this today. So in this session, we will focus on general nutrition with an emphasis on fitness. We will not be able to talk about fad diets and dietary requirements of certain medical conditions such as diabetes, heart disease, etc. So today we have with us Dr. Kalyani Singh, who's very accomplished in this area. She's had over 30 years of experience teaching and guiding students. She has been an associate professor in the Department of Nutrition in Lady Irving College and also in Delhi University. She's a nutritional consultant as well, and she's had numerous articles and publications to her credit. And she also has been part of several governmental programs such as ICDS and the Midday Meal Program as well. Welcome, Dr. Kalyani. It's a great pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me, and I look forward to interacting with you. Thank you.
If you would like to reach out to Dr. Kalyani Singh for any personal nutritional requirements, we will have an email address in the description in the video channel today, so you might reach out to her if you want to do that. Also, I'd like to tell you that this video is primarily going to be in English, but we plan on doing our best to translate this in regional languages such as Kannada and Hindi as well, and you can tune in for those things as well. All right, so let's start with a very simple question. What exactly is the link between diet and exercise?
Fitness actually includes three components, and that is diet, exercise, and a healthy lifestyle. And when we form good eating habits, it becomes a way of life, and it helps us to reduce our body fat, and also it reduces our risk for various illnesses. So I would say that nutrition is actually the cornerstone of any fitness program.
Very good, very good. So when we talk about our Indian population, what exactly is the required daily requirement, the RDA as we call it?
For an adult woman who weighs 55 kilograms and is in the age range of 19 to 39 years and doing sedentary activity, her requirements are 1,660 kilocalories and 36 grams of protein. For an adult man who weighs 65 kilograms with this kind of an activity pattern and in this age range, the requirements are 2,110 kilocalories and 43 grams of protein. But of course, for each person, depending on their weight, their age, their activity pattern, the recommended dietary allowances would differ.
Okay. So for example, if a person's goal is weight loss, so they would actually shoot for a lower calorie, they would probably go lower on the carbohydrate and fat intake, but maintain the same quantity of protein and fiber. Would that be reasonable?
I would say that based on their usual intake, if they would reduce their calorie intake, and of course the calories are contributed by carbohydrate, proteins and fats, so automatically that means that those will have to be reduced. Then the person can definitely aim for a weight loss, provided they are also doing substantial amount of physical activity.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so next question. There's a lot of emphasis on protein intake when you're exercising these days, right? So given that we all have our own personal preferences when it comes to diet, how do we eat a balanced diet and yet consume the correct amount of protein that we need while exercising, given that different kinds of proteins have their own advantages and disadvantages?
Okay. Exercise and protein are very strongly interlinked because protein definitely helps in muscle synthesis, muscle protein synthesis. So there has been a lot of emphasis on protein. Non-vegetarian food items have all the essential amino acids that our body requires. So we use the word complete protein or good quality protein for protein from animal sources like milk, eggs, meat, etc. So there definitely has a very important role in exercise, but very often these non-vegetarian food items also come loaded with a lot of fat and that too saturated fat. So it is important to choose sensibly, like lean cuts of meat, chicken, fish, egg whites, etc.
Yes.
So a person then is getting adequate amount of protein without taking in too much of saturated fat. The next thing I want to emphasize is the method of cooking. Using methods such as steaming, boiling, stewing, grilling. These are better methods than deep fat frying or cooking in rich gravies or making preparations like biryani, etc.
Absolutely.
So therefore, it is important that we focus on the method of cooking as well as the kind of meat that we are choosing. And in the quantity, of course, would depend on the cultural background of the person and also the economic factors, because meat and meat products are definitely more expensive. So the economic factors would also determine how much quantity a person would consume. Coming to vegetarians, combining cereals and pulses together, where the protein of each bridges the gap in the other. So our preparations like idlis, dosas, khichdi, these are wonderful examples of cereal pulse combinations which are not only tasty but also nutritious. A healthy plate concept is something that is easy for everyone to follow, where we fill up half a plate with vegetables such as green leafy vegetable, other vegetables, a bit of roots and tubers. Quarter is made up of protein foods like meat, dal, pulses, eggs, etc. And only quarter is made up of cereals, and that too whole grains and millets. And even when we eat non-vegetarian food items, very often the vegetables are forgotten. And it is important to include vegetables definitely at every meal. So I would like to emphasize that. Definitely.
Okay. So vegetarians also have options, and non-vegetarian diet is absolutely not essential, but they do play a very important role if you are on a non-vegetarian diet. And it's very interesting you bring up biryani and stuff like that, because a lot of my patients, they love to indulge on things like that, and this concept of this healthy plate concept is just something very superb, and I think we should all remember that, because I don't think we follow that half quarter. Most of the time that I see, the half becomes the carbohydrate and not the quarter. So yes, thank you for that. So with the kind of exercises that we do in our channel, for example, how much protein should we increase?
Protein offers many advantages, especially in the area of fitness, because it helps to conserve muscle protein. Also, it helps in synthesis of muscle protein and also helps in recovery as well as glycogen storage.
Sure.
So, protein has a very unique role definitely in fitness. For a person who does heavy weightlifting or a person who is training for an event, the protein requirements would be in the range of 1.2 to 1.7 grams per kilogram body weight.
Okay.
My concern is very often we do not even meet our normal protein requirements. So we should definitely give emphasis to nutrition, the protein nutrition of a diet, where we focus on inclusion of either dal or pulses or egg or meat at every meal, like at breakfast time, along with idlis, dosas, etc. We can always include a peanut chutney or a dal chutney, a bowl of curds or a bowl of sprouts. All this would help to enhance the protein value. Similarly, at lunchtime and dinner time, I think we do pretty well at that time because we include sambar or dal. But the consistency has to be thick, that is important. And then when we follow it up with a bowl of curds, that again increases the protein content of the meal. Tea time is a wonderful time where we can really include a lot of protein snacks. We can have items like doklas, khandvis, sundal. We can have, grilled paneer,
Right.
cheese dishes,
Yeah.
etc., which would contribute significantly to the protein content. So I would say that at every meal, we need to tick off, have we consumed sufficient protein, and ensure that we do.
So yes, we need a certain amount of planning of each of our meals and our snacks, and it's definitely doable. It's definitely doable. All right, very good. So, do we need to consume protein in a ready-made form? You know, a lot of people who work out that I see, you know, they want to buy various products. So, how important is it?
The supplements or the ready-made products, as you say, has a role, not for everyone. For certain people who are into heavy exercises or for marathon training or for various other events where their protein requirements are substantially increased and they cannot take in that much of protein through the diet, protein
Yes.
supplements have a role, definitely.
Okay.
Or a person who doesn't have adequate appetite and a person's requirements are increased, protein will have to be given as a supplement. But I think we need to not overdo it. That is important. If we eat adequate, if we pay attention to suitable choices of protein-rich foods, I think we should be good.
So, moving away from the protein issue, what kind of fat should we be using in our cooking?
The idea is to use a different variety of oil,
Okay.
not just depend on one kind of oil.
Okay.
So it is sensible to buy smaller packs, and we can use oils like groundnut, sesame oil or till oil. We can use olive oil, mustard oil. These are all good oils to use. Right now, cold pressed oils are available in plenty. And in this method of extraction of oil, the nutrients are preserved rather than the heat treatment method.
Okay.
And we should also be mindful of the trans fat.
Yes.
We should definitely avoid products that contain trans fat, like very many bakery items or fried items that we buy commercially. So it is important to read the labels because labels indicate how much of trans fats are present, and we should look for 0% trans fat.
That's very interesting, to know that it's a good idea to mix oils. I'm sure most of our viewers haven't thought about it, or at least it didn't occur to me. So thank you for that. So since our Indian diet is very rich in carbohydrates, how do we choose good carbohydrates?
The emphasis should be really on complex carbohydrates.
Okay.
The carbohydrate that is present in whole grains and millets. Right now a lot of millets and millet products are available in the market.
Yes, certainly.
Like bajra, ragi,
Yes.
foxtail millet,
Yes.
and so many varieties of millets are available.
Yeah.
We also have brown rice and we have products made out of whole wheat. So we should choose products that are essentially from whole grains. So that way we ensure that we have substantial amount of fiber in the diet as well as all the other nutrients that are present. And the fiber helps in a lot of ways. It helps us in our bowel movement, it helps to bring down our cholesterol level, and also, the sugar peaks that occur after taking in a lot of carbs, you find that is reduced quite a bit on
Absolutely.
a high fiber diet.
Yes.
And also now there is a lot of emphasis on probiotic, where we have gut microbiota, which is linked with a lot of degenerative disorders, even with dementia and conditions like that. So therefore, our focus should be on choosing whole grains and millets, definitely. And we should stay away from highly polished carbohydrate sources like maida and white bread and products made with starches, etc., because these are not recommended, definitely.
Yes, we seem to be using more and more polished and refined products in all areas of cooking, and that's very good advice. I always tell my patients that your cooking, your plate should look colorful. So definitely adding more fiber, adding brown rice and whole wheat and all that adds more color. So that's obviously very more nourishing.
Definitely.
So is it important we take supplements when we're exercising? Yes.
A healthy diet, a balanced diet with sufficient amount of dietary diversity, that is including food items from a variety of food groups, ensures that it meets all our nutritional requirements. But depending on the stage of life cycle a person is in, like old age or pregnancy or adolescence, supplements may be needed at certain times, or during illnesses, there may be supplements that is needed. Sometimes, vitamin D deficiency these days is very commonly seen. In spite of our good amount of sunlight that is available, we do not expose ourselves sufficiently to sunlight. So, omega-3 fatty acids and vitamin D supplements may be recommended, but I would say that a balanced diet will meet all the nutritional requirements and no supplements anymore.
I totally agree with you. How important is hydration?
Fitness and hydration go hand in hand. We should not wait for us to feel thirsty before we reach for water when we are training. It is important to drink water before, during and after exercise. And the amount would depend on the kind of exercise, the duration of exercise, the age of the person, weather conditions and so on. But hydration has a very important role, definitely.
How about traditional foods? We seem to be moving away from traditional foods, and I'm not sure if that's a good idea. What are your thoughts about that?
I'm so glad you asked me this because, emphasis now seems to be more on, highly processed food items that are high in fat, salt, sugar, rather than, looking at our traditional diet. Occasionally during the festival time, these dishes are featured in some homes. But the traditional diets were based on the seasonal availability and the local availability. And at that time, highly processed food items were not available. So many of these traditional food items are really healthy food items. When you look at a dish like kosumbari from Karnataka, which is actually a dal salad, soaked dal salad with addition of raw vegetables and a tadka of mustard, etc., which is an excellent dish, and it is so packed with protein. So this is a wonderful dish. Similarly, you find that sarson ka saag that is used in winter time in the north is again so packed with nutrients. Also, people at that time took into consideration the seasonal changes. In winter time, you find a combination of til seeds and jaggery prepared in a variety of forms. Like in South, you find it as laddus. In Maharashtra, you find it as chikki. You find that in the north, you find it as gajak or tilpatti. So you find that the same ingredients are featured in a variety of ways. And there is a tremendous value in our traditional dishes. And I think our younger generation especially should definitely know more about it and include it in the diet.
So I think nutrition and the diet that we eat is based on a lot of our cultural beliefs, our emotional beliefs, our upbringing, our religion, for example, economic factors. So there's a lot of factors that go into what we eat. And I think also ethical and environmental factors also play a role. We also have to think about sustainability. So yes, this is a lot of information in a few minutes, and I hope our viewers are able to digest it just like I should. So thank you so much, Dr. Kalyani, for this wonderful talk. I really appreciate it. And once again, I want to remind our viewers, if you want to reach out to Dr. Kalyani, I will share her email address below. Thanks as always for choosing our channel, And if you do like our videos, please hit the like button, share it with your family and friends, and also subscribe to our channel. And we would love to hear from you. If there's something positive or even negative for that matter about our channel, please feel free to comment in the comment box. So thank you and namaste.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.